Let's talk about a myth that's deeply embedded in the nonprofit culture. So much so that many of us don't even realize it's a myth. The idea that your job is your identity, that who you are is inseparable from what you do, that your role, your title, your impact, your output is you. This belief isn't just common in the nonprofit world, it's celebrated. We're told it's noble. We get praised for being so dedicated, for living the mission, for going above and beyond. We wear our work like a badge of honor because it's not just a job, right? It's a calling, it's our purpose. But let's pause here because there's a fine line between passion and over identification. And when your sense of self becomes completely entangled with your role, your title, or your performance, it creates some deep emotional consequences, especially in a field where the work is heavy, ongoing, and never really done. Psychologists refer to this as occupational identity, and while it's not inherently bad, it becomes problematic when your identity is overly defined by your profession. In other words, you don't just work in the nonprofit sector, you are the nonprofit sector. You don't just do youth work or community organizing or policy advocacy. You are the youth worker. You are the advocate. You are the support system. And when your role becomes your entire identity, a few things start to happen. First, it becomes really difficult to set boundaries. If you are your job, then turning your phone off at 5 p.m. feels like abandonment. Saying no to a request feels like you're failing the mission. Taking a vacation or prioritizing your health feels selfish because if you don't show up, who are you? Second, it can create deep emotional volatility. When things go well at work, you feel amazing. But when a grant doesn't come through, when a client is in crisis, when your team is struggling, or when someone gives critical feedback, you take it personally. It's not just about the job, it's about you, your worth, your goodness, your value. And third, it makes transitions feel impossible. Have you ever thought about leaving your job, even just for a second, and immediately felt like you wouldn't know who you are without it? That's the trap. The identity you've built around your work becomes a cage. And even if the job is harming you, burning you out, overwhelming you, making you sick, you stay. Because leaving feels like losing yourself. And here's the thing, nonprofit culture feeds this myth. We celebrate people who sacrifice everything for the mission. We admire the ones who stay late, skip meals, answer emails at midnight, and show up on their day off. We promote hustle as heroism, and over time, the message becomes clear. Your worth is measured by how much you give, not just to the work, but of yourself. And let's be honest, this hits especially hard in identity-based work. If you're a survivor supporting other survivors, if you've experienced homelessness, foster care, poverty, or racism, and now work in that same system, the lines blur even further. You don't just feel connected to the mission, you are the mission. You're living it while also trying to lead it. And that double burden can be both powerful and incredibly heavy. Let's talk about what this does to your nervous system. When your identity is tied to your performance, your brain starts to associate doing well at work with being safe or being loved. It becomes a survival mechanism. If people praise you, if they say you're needed, if the mission depends on you, then maybe you'll be okay. Maybe you're enough. But the moment you mess up, take time off, or ask for help, shame creeps in, guilt, the fear of not being valuable anymore. And that's not just unhealthy, it's unsustainable. Over time, This identity entanglement can lead to what psychologists call enmeshment, where there's no emotional separation between you and the thing you're part of. You can't tell where the mission ends and you begin. And when that happens, your sense of worth becomes fragile, contingent, easily shaken by every hard day, every conflict, every unmet goal. So, how do we push back on this myth? First, we start by saying something that feels radical in this field. You are more than your job. You are more than your title. You are more than your last success or your last failure. You are a whole human being with needs, desires, dreams, relationships, and value that extends far beyond your professional role. Your job can be a part of your identity, but it cannot be the whole thing. That's too much pressure for any role to carry and too much weight for any person to hold. Second, we need to normalize joy and fulfillment outside of work. You're allowed to have hobbies, to have a quiet day, to want a weekend where you don't think about the mission. You're allowed to say, I love what I do, but I'm not only what I do. And third, organizations and leaders have to model this. We need to stop praising the people who never stop working and start honoring those who set healthy boundaries. We need to support professional development and personal development. We need to create cultures where people are valued for their presence, their humanity, not just their output. Because here's the truth. When we encourage nonprofit professionals to build their entire identity around their work, we're building a workforce on emotional quicksand. People burn out, they break down, and when they need a break or want to transition, they have no idea who they are without the role they played. But when we affirm that you are more than your job, that you matter even when you rest, that your worth isn't tied to how many hats you wear or fires you put out, that's when people begin to heal, to grow, to lead from a grounded place. That's when sustainability becomes real. So, if you've ever caught yourself thinking, who am I without this role? I want you to know you're not alone. This myth is everywhere, but it can be unlearned. You can be mission driven and have a life outside the mission. You can care deeply and take care of yourself. You can make a difference in the world without losing who you are in the process. You are not your job. You are not your title. You are not your to-do list. You are a full, complex, beautiful human being, and that, in and of itself, is enough. If this resonated with you, or if you've struggled with tying your identity to your work, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your experience. And if you know someone in the sector who might need to hear this today, send it their way. Subscribe for more myth-busting content that challenges outdated narratives and helps build a healthier nonprofit culture.